Hey guys, welcome back to TechTotalTools. My name is Rambabu. In this video session, I will show you how to create Kubernetes namespaces, pods and services. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do subscribe, like, share and don't forget to hit the bell icon. Thank you. Without delay, we start the session. Kubernetes namespace pod services. In this video session, we will be learning about Kubernetes namespaces, pods and services. What is namespace? What is namespace? How to create namespaces? What are pods in Kubernetes? How to create pods? What is service in Kubernetes? Services in Kubernetes? How to create services? And our agenda is namespaces, Kubernetes pods and services. Kubernetes namespaces. Namespaces are Kubernetes object which partition a single Kubernetes cluster into multiple virtual clusters. Kubernetes comes with three default namespaces. Kubernetes comes with three default namespaces. They are default and kube system and kube public. This is the default namespace used for Kubernetes components. Kube system is used for Kubernetes components. Kube public used for public resources. Okay. Kube public used for public resources. Default namespace. Default we can create pods in that default namespace. Namespaces features: isolation, organization, permissions, resource control, performance. These are all the namespaces features. We can reuse the same resource names in different namespaces. Organization, we can organize the different environments. Example, production environment, development and test environment. Permissions, we can give the permission to users or groups within the namespace only, so they can access to resources in a given namespace only. Resource control, resource limits can be set on namespaces by defining resource quotas per CPU or memory utilization. Performance, using namespaces can help improve performances of given clusters. Color scheme. Performance. Okay. Next, give the practical example about these namespaces. This is my Kubernetes cluster. Single node Kubernetes cluster. This is my single node Kubernetes cluster. kubectl get nodes shows the server, and Kubernetes server is the server control node and kube server is the node mission. kubectl get namespaces. It shows this is the command kubectl get namespace. It shows the all namespaces in this cluster. Kubectl get ns. Ns also shortcut of namespace shortcut is ns. Default namespace, and these are all three are default namespaces. Default, kube system and kube public. Kube public and kube system and default. These are all three default namespaces. Ingress Nginx, I already installed that. Ingress, that's only created Ingress namespace in Nginx namespace. Next, how to create namespace. Kubectl get namespace, kubectl config set context current namespace. This is the change the namespace. Delete namespace and get pods namespace in particular namespace. Create namespace. Kubectl create namespace, namespace name ram ns. This imperative method. Imperative method, we can create the namespaces and parse everything resources using imperative or declarative. Imperative means it is using command line. Declarative means using file system. Okay. Namespace ram ns created. Yes. So it will get ns ram ns created. Active 11 seconds. Next, go to declarative method. You can create the namespace using file, YAML file, using YAML file, ram new ns.yaml. Right? Asana f ram new ns.yaml. Yes, created from ns ram new ns. This is the declarative method. kubectl delete name space namespace space namespace name from ns. Delete the namespace. kubectl get ns. Deleted from ns namespace. Next, delete kubectl delete -f declarative method also we can delete using file system. File name new ns already deleted, also deleted. kubectl get ns. Yes. Next, go to these are the namespaces. Context kubectl get ns. Yeah, get the namespaces. kubectl create namespace from ns as created. kubectl get pods. In no resources found in default namespace, and default this cluster takes the default namespace. How to show the particular namespace pods? kubectl run create the pod. First will create the run the pod. After that we will show image pod image equal to nginx onion ram. No, first we can create default namespace. Yes, created pod created. How to check the pods? Get pods shows the default namespace pods only. Running and ready. RAM pod is running and ready. Get pods and -o YAML wide. It shows the -o wide. It shows the IP address and everything. kubectl describe command should describe all the data within that pod name, all the details about the pod it displays using this command. Pod namespace is a default. It created default namespace only. We did not mention the namespace name, so it's created the default namespace. We can reuse the same resource name, different namespaces. Now the same name already created RAM pod, the same name of the RAM pod we will not create in the recreation is not possible. Error from server already exists. It shows the already exist. The same pod we can create another namespace also. It is possible to create another namespace -n ram ns. It's created. Yes, pod, RAM pod is created. How to check the pod is created or not? kubectl get pod shows the default namespace only. 2 minutes before created. -n RAM ns. It shows the 29 seconds only. It created 29 seconds. Okay. This is the describe pods space RAM pod. How to know the pod namespace? We will check describe command. Namespace is RAM ns. Next, pods, it shows the only this. Delete the namespace. Sorry, pods. Get pods -o wide. kubectl get pods. It shows the default namespace only. kubectl delete pods. Delete the default namespace pods only. This command delete only default namespace. If this pod is available in default, it delete. Otherwise, it give the there is no pods in default namespace. Get pods, yeah, -n RAM, but the pod is running in another namespace RAM ns. How to delete that one? Delete pods pod name space pod name -n RAM as namespace name. Particular pod in particular namespace. No resources found in RAM ns namespace. Okay. Get pods particular namespace. You can check any pods is running or not using -n namespace name. Shows the default namespace. kubectl config get context there is no help. It shows the contexts. Yes, get contexts. The yes is get context. Yeah, it shows the which context is running. Default namespace star current namespace. Default namespace is the default. Current namespace is default. I want to change that current namespace. Which command you can use here? Change that current namespace default to RAM ns and kubectl config set context current namespace equal to RAM ns. This is the command. You can change the kubectl config set context space config set context current space namespace equal to round ns. Yes, modified context Kubernetes admin Kubernetes modified. Now we will check again. kubectl config get context equal get context. Here it shows the change that current namespace. Current namespace is ramns. Default to change the default to ramns. This is the command to change the namespace, current namespace. kubectl get pods shows the this is the current namespace, ramns namespace. No resources found in ramns namespace. Again, we change that default. Okay, modified. Now check again. No resource found in default namespace. This is the command to change the current namespace. Next, I will go to pods. Pods. What is pods? Kubernetes doesn't deploy containers directly on the worker node. Just go to what is pods. In Google search, we will get lot of information about pods. What is pods in Kubernetes? Google and read everything. Okay, pods are smallest, most basic deployable objects in Kubernetes. A pod represents a single instance of a running process. Pods is nothing but a running containers package. Multiple containers also running in single pod. kubectl.pods, kubectl.pods, all namespaces kubectl delete pods. These are the commands. Next, there are two ways you can configure resources under Kubernetes: imperatively and declaratively. Imperatively configuration means that to describe the configuration of the resources, you execute a command from a terminal's command prompt. You can run the command and create the resources. That is the imperatively. Declaratively means, declarative configuration means that you create a file, YAML file, create a base the configuration of the particular resources and then apply the content of the file to the Kubernetes cluster. Apply the file. This is the declarative example. kubectl get pods. No resources found in default namespace. kubectl imperatively we can create the pod. I already shown. Create or run anything. You can create the pod. Run. rom pod hyphen hyphen image equal to nginx. Yes, rom pod is created. Running. It is running. Is the same command. You can use the docker as also. Docker run command also same. Just running the container in a single pod. Single container in a pod. kubectl. In pods, we can run multiple container also. You will get pods. Pods. Pod hyphen o YAML. It shows the configuration, everything in YAML file. API version and kind pod, metadata, spec. These are all the kubectl get pods. Describe pod is the describe command. Particular pod. It shows the all the pod data. Auto create the pod name and namespace, IP address, and container, image name, image ID, everything. It shows the here. Docker ID and image name, image ID, it will display. Mounts, mount points, and everything. kubectl get pods delete pods in rom pod. How to delete the pod? kubectl delete pods from. This is the delete of the pod. kubectl get pods. No resources found in default namespace. Next, declaratively pod creation. This is a file. This command is created the YAML file from scratch. kubectl run rom pod hyphen hyphen image equal to nginx hyphen o hyphen hyphen dry run equal to client. This is very important command to create YAML file. Hyphen o YAML greater than cc.yaml is create the YAML file directly. This is very important command. This command is used in Kubernetes certification time. Useful. It is very useful. vi cc.yaml. It gives the all details of the pod creation. DNS policy is not required. Restart policy and status is not required. Just only kubectl create -f cc.yaml. Pod is created successfully. Any resources we can create using this command kubectl get pods. It shows the pod. -o pod, it shows the IP address. Nominated node and radius gateways. Next, this is the command to create the YAML file. We can create any resources using this command. Create YAML file. I don't know how to create YAML file. Just use this command and create the YAML file by default. kubectl delete pod f1 f cc.yaml. Get pods. Now this is spawn and default namespace. Next, we'll go to this is the YAML file. Some indentation error. Previous file, some indentation error is getting. That's why only I create using this command and delete that file. Next, there is no pods. Now go to next session. This is the declarative pod creation example. Kubernetes services. What is services? Kubernetes services. What is service? Go to Google and search here. What is services in Kubernetes? Kubernetes services. It gives the lot of information about these services. A Kubernetes service is a logical abstraction for a deployed group of pods in a cluster which all perform the same function. Kubernetes deployment. This is the service. Okay. Go to this page and read the content of these services and everything. If you want learn more things, go to this website or any website. You can search Google. Okay. What are types of services? Label in components in services called labels, the cluster IP and port definition, optional mapping of the incoming ports. Next, what are types of Kubernetes services? Cluster IP, node port, exposure service in node port and load balancer. External namespace, external name. So this is the external name filled by returning the value of the CNAME record. Service types, cluster IP, stable internal cluster IP, node port, expose the app outside of the cluster by adding the cluster right port on top of cluster IP. Load balancer integrates node port with cloud-based load balancers. Load balancer are created in cloud. We can expose that using load balancer. This is the label is very important in services selection. Create the pod and access the pod using these services in outside the cluster. kubectl get nginx pod.yaml. This is the pod creation file. Name app pod nginx containers. kubectl apply and nginx-f nginx pod.yaml. Create the pod. Nginx pod created. Now I can create service. Yes, pod create and running 13 seconds ago. Y shows the IP address. This is the cluster IP. This is the service file. Declarative service YAML file. Nginx pod, app is Nginx pod. Node port type is node port 3200 in node port. Target port is 80. Selector is Nginx pod. Selector means it select the pod. kubectl apply f1f nginx service.yaml. It create the service. Now kubectl get services. It shows the services. Otherwise, shortcut svc. ram svc. This is the shortcut. kubectl get svc. This is the ram svc node port. This is the IP address. This is the node port number. Go to Internet Explorer. Open that Chrome. kubectl get ns get nodes. It displays the node IP address. This is the kube server. This is the node. This IP address 192.168.10.140. Go to Chrome. This is the port. So 192.168.10.140 :32300. Enter. Yes. Welcome to Nginx. The pod was exposed in outside of the cluster. This is the use of service. Pods are running the application. Services are expose the application in outside of the cluster. That is the main feature of services. Kubernetes namespaces are the divided into pods in cluster. Thank you for watching this video session. Next video. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.